10-Minute Jazz Lesson Podcast, episode 28. Hey, welcome back to episode 28 of the 10-Minute Jazz Lesson Podcast. I'm Nick Manella, and I will be your host. If you're brand new to the show, what these are a short and concise jazz lesson every single week via podcast, complete with downloadable PDFs, and hopefully we can benefit you guys and help you get better at the art of improvising every single week in an easy-to-access lesson. So go and check out our website, 10minutejazzlesson.com. That's the number 10minutejazzlesson.com. You can find all of our back episodes, our blog, our resources section, and most importantly, because we need your support, we are giving away all of this information for free. Check out our store page. We've got a lot of really cool stuff for sale. We've got transcription packs, we've got some cool ebooks, and now you can also buy all of the back episode PDFs, and that's a great way to not have to go through all the shows and download them individually, but get them in one place and support the podcast all at one time. We are definitely asking for your donations, even if it's only $1 a month. Everything helps, and you can do that by clicking on one of the donate buttons, which are all over our website. And when the form pops up, you can put in a recurring monthly donation. That really helps. We really appreciate it. And thank you so much to all the people out there that are already donating. It's just awesome. You're responsible for keeping the show up and running. Okay, so this week is a part 2 episode. Last week, if you haven't listened, I would suggest going back and listening to that because this week is going to build on to that. So we're still talking about the blues, and last week we went from the most simple form of the blues to the most complicated form of the blues. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add some actual chord substitutions on top of what we're already doing. The purpose of this is to give you a little bit more of an out sound. Now, if you've never heard of that before, what playing out is means that you're playing notes that really clash with the chord that's going on at the time. But ultimately, what we're looking for is tension and release. So the notes that clash are the tension, and then when we go to the new chord, we're going to release that tension by playing totally inside the key that we're going to. Now, this is a little bit more of an advanced topic, and I want to make sure that you have all the material from the other episode down before you start to really dabble in this. But this is really the sound that you hear your favorite musicians doing that kind of makes you really excited to be listening to them. So if you're ready to get into this kind of stuff, this is really going to take you to that next level if you work hard enough on it. So let's jump right into the first progression for this week. So the focus of this first example is going to be on a tritone substitution. Now, the last Lick of the Month episode, we looked at the way that Michael Brecker handled his tritone substitution over a dominant chord. Now, we're going to do a little bit of the same thing on our own so you can come up with your own ideas. So basically what we're doing is, at the end of bar 4, we're going to play a tritone substitution of the B flat chord. We're going to play an E7 chord over beats 3 and 4. And you'll notice that this is a half step up from E flat. So we get that tension. The key of E is about as far away from B flat as you can get. And then when we jump into the E flat chord, we're going to play right inside the changes. Now you notice again in bar number 10, we are replacing the F7 chord on beats 3 and 4 with a B7 chord. Then we're going to resolve that to a B flat 7 chord. And then in the last bar of the blues, instead of playing the 5 chord, we're going to play a tritone sub over that. We're going to play B7 instead of F7. The easiest way to get started on this stuff is simply by using triads, because triads are really, really clear. They outline the sound of the tonality in the most simple way possible, and they'll give you that really out sound. So I'm going to do my best to stick with triads and really listen to the end of bar 4, listen to the end of bar 10, and then also listen to bar 12, and you'll hear that we get that nice tension and release. So can you hear it gets pretty tense there for a minute? It almost sounds like, whoa, it's not really working. And then all of a sudden, when we land in the home key, you get that nice feeling of that nice release. Okay, so that's really what we're looking for. We're looking for the out sound and then as in as you can possibly play, and it's that kind of yin and yang that really makes those substitutions work. So let's take a look at our next progression. This is example number 2. Here we're really focusing on the first 4 bars. What we're doing for substitutions in this one is we're going to descend in whole steps over the first 4 bars of the blues progression. And this is going to give us a really, really cool effect. It's really going to be kind of out. And this progression ends in bar 4 on our tritone substitution. So it ties into what we were talking about before, but this gives us a completely different sound over the first 4 bars of the blues. So we're going to go from a B flat chord, and then in bar 2 we're going to go to an A flat chord, bar 3 we're going to go to a G flat chord, and then we're going to end up on an E7 chord in bar 4, which is the tritone substitution of where we're supposed to be. Then we land and release on our E flat 7 chord. Not much else in this is really that different. I want you to really pay attention to the first 4 bars in this one. So it's really pretty an out sound, but I really, really like it. I remember when I first learned that back in grad school, and I practiced that for hours and days to try to get that really good sound over it and outline all the substitutions that are going on. So in the next one, we're really looking at the 2-5-1 progression. What we're going to do is a technique called side slipping, and this can get very out, and it's very, very clashing with what's going on. So if you look at bar 9, what we're actually going to do is 2 short 2-5-1s over the course of what's supposed to be the long 2-5-1, but in bar 9 we're going to do a 2-5 a half step up. Then we're going to come back down and do our normal 2-5-1, and it'll give it this unbelievable tension in bar 9, and then in bar 10, we're really going to play something that resolves nicely back into the 1 chord. So this is the technique of side slipping. This is pretty advanced. If you can't really catch on to this right now, don't worry about it. Give it some time. Leave this one for a little while. Get all the other stuff down first and then come back to this. So it's pretty out, isn't it? And it's a little bit tough to hear if you're not quite at that level yet. So our final one today, I know we're going over time again today, but I really enjoy teaching these lessons. So I guess we can call it the 15-minute jazz lesson podcast for these past couple weeks. So the last one is we're basically going to turn every single chord into an augmented chord. And what we're going to do is we're going to really play a lot of our whole tone stuff. So if you don't know about whole tone, go back and find the whole tone episodes. They're on the website. Check that out. That'll give you a good base to work from. But what we're going to do is we're going to basically sharp the 5 on every chord that we possibly can, every dominant chord, and we're going to work with some augmented triad pairs and the whole tone scale to really give us, again, a very out sound. This one is really, really modern, and this is one of my favorite sounds that there is out there. So this is example number 4 on your sheet, and it's all going to be dealing with whole tone, and you'll notice that we're really, really playing outside the changes, and it might not sound that good to you at first, but give it a chance and then kind of decide if this is something you want to work on. Here's the whole tone stuff. So it's kind of cool, isn't it? I mean, that is very, very out, and you can hear the whole tone scale very clearly over that. So the way to kind of tie all this together is that you may want to do a mix of kind of everything throughout your solo. Most blues solos are a lot of choruses. So if you want to give your solo some variety, you can mix a lot of these concepts together. If you want to demonstrate one particular sound, you can gravitate towards one of these examples and inject a whole bunch of that stuff into your solo. But ultimately, you want all of this to be available to you whenever you want to use it. And that's what kind of makes you a complete player. I would say if you really want to get deeper into this stuff beyond what I've given you here, hit me up for a Skype lesson. This is one of my favorite things to teach, and I think you'll get a lot out of a one-on-one session with me. And you can find that on the website under the Skype tab if that's something that you're interested in. So that's going to about do it. We've gone way over today, but I hope you found this stuff useful. Please jump on iTunes, leave us a rating and review. That's a big deal for us. And please, please, please donate to the podcast if you find this stuff cool and you find it useful. All right, everybody, we will see you next week. I hope you have a good one, and we'll be back with a brand new lesson next time. Bye.